Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're talking to Matt Daigle, CEO and founder of Build with Rise. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Thanks so much for having me, Belinda. It's great to be here.
Thank you. So I've been in touch with your team for a couple of months now, and there seem to be a lot of parallels, weird parallels between what I'm trying to do on the YouTube page and what you have accomplished on your website and on your business for the past 7 years. So could you give us a brief introduction on your company and the principles that drive the work that you do?
Yeah, for sure. So my background is in technology, but I took up a love for home ownership and renovations and DIYs like after I bought my first house. And it was my second home that was another project house, but we were in a rush to renovate it because we were about to welcome our first kid to the world. And obviously it's an exciting time, got the project done, moved in, but then like the house looked beautiful, it looked great, but then I picked up my first power bill after the reno. It looked identical as the power bill before. So I considered that a bit of a fail. And then I also, having a kid, it kind of sprouts up new questions and a new focus in your life and perhaps new values. And so I started, thinking even the paint on the walls that we put on, is it safe for her to be in here? So there's all these new questions, and frankly, online didn't have a lot of answers. That's where I naturally gravitated to. That was my background. And then I pretty soon found out I wasn't the only homeowner who had, very similar questions. And the ultimate question being, how can the average homeowner have a home that is more sustainable? So, and when our company looks at sustainability, I was listening to a few your podcasts, but they talked a little bit about greenwashing, and that's absolutely a thing. And so when we talk about sustainability, personally, I don't even really love the term sustainable because it has such a varied meaning depending on who you talk to.
And you're really open about that, because on your website, you actually have a page where you say being green and eco-friendly can just be labels. It can mean nothing. So you're trying to get past the labels and educate the homeowner on what it really means to be eco-friendly.
Exactly. And yeah, and maybe back to your original question was, what that means to us is we've tried to keep it really simple for folks. And the three sort of tenets that we, run by or walk by is health, wealth, and planet. So any products or materials or ways of building that are benefiting one or all or two or all three of those things are really what have driven Rise to where we're at today. And so we're trying to tie it back to tangibles for folks so that it's not just wishy-washy, like this is an eco-friendly product or this is a green product or sustainable this, sustainable that. No, what is it actually benefiting for you? Is it better for your air quality? Is it better for your water quality? Is it better for your pocketbook because it has lower maintenance costs or maybe longer lifespan? Or is it better for the planet because it's got lower embodied energy or lower carbon footprint? Or maybe it's reusing certain materials.
So metrics, basically, not just fancy terms and like idealistic goals, but actual numbers and metrics that people can wrap their head around. And I think I talked to Chris Magwood a couple of weeks ago, and he was saying that being green or being eco-friendly means something different to everyone. So you can present someone with 5 different metrics, and they will automatically gravitate towards one thing that is most important to them. Because ticking every single box is almost impossible. You can be idealistic when you start a project and want to have the best insulated home and the best indoor air quality, but it won't fit your budget. So you have to make compromises somewhere. And you, through your company and your website, you're presenting homeowners and people looking to renovate houses with all these metrics, and they can pick and choose what matters to them the most.
Exactly. And so, I mean, for that fact, we've kind of stayed away from the terminology, and what we've built over the years is really a platform that educates people first and foremost, because there is an education, component to moving people towards these different products. And a lot of these products, were once upon a time very niche. but a lot of them are moving towards the mainstream. You think of even just the LED bulb, which was a very niche thing, 20 years ago. They were invented back, I think, in the 60s. But it wasn't until the last 10 years where we saw this huge move and huge shift towards moving away from incandescent bulbs over to LED. And there's obviously a lot of industries within the building sector that are moving the same way. You think of even insulation products, for example, I know you've done some amazing videos around bat insulation, things like hemp wool, or what's the other one?
Sheep wool, cotton. Yeah, so many.
Yeah, so many great new, almost back to earth type of products that are also making not a comeback, but they're becoming much more popular today.
Like consumer grade things that were unattainable in the past. Now people are able to produce them maybe on smaller quantities, market them on social media, and directly reach consumers. They don't really need to scale up to the level that like fiberglass or something has. So social media has been pretty awesome in a lot of ways. It's been detrimental in a lot of others, but it's also helped businesses pop up overnight. Yeah,
exactly. And just to get back to just the education piece, what we kept getting from homeowners. So we got really good at educating people, welcomed millions of homeowners to our site, professionals as well. But then the number one question we kept getting from folks was, well, you got me convinced on this product or material, but where do you actually buy it? And, rather than say, we also realized there's almost a very large gap in the market that exists today, which I like to refer to as the Whole Foods of home improvement. So the same way that you walk into a grocery store, and for me, I immediately go to the health food section. So I know those products have been curated and vetted. They're a little bit better for me. At least I know that that's where I'll find most of what I'm looking for. But unfortunately, the same thing doesn't exist in a hardware store. And so that vetting process, or that research that needs to happen, that hasn't been done, for lack of better words. And so Rise has been doing that for the last 7 or 8 years, and now we are able to close the loop with those customers and actually have them buy the products directly on our store and have it delivered to their home a few days later.
That's awesome. So you've been adding new products to your site every week, I've heard. Yeah.
Every single day. So our store is, it's not even a year old yet, but it just has taken off like wildfire. I can't describe how this has been transformational for our business. But because
it's not like just talking about pure numbers. It is very difficult to make an educational business profitable. Whether it's a website, whether it's YouTube, you're giving away education for free. And it's not a sustainable long-term plan, speaking from experience. So you transitioning to selling products it's something that customers want, but it's also a way for your business to grow.
That's right. So we work directly with our manufacturers. Today, we have over 135 brands that we work with directly. That number changes every day, every week, usually. Same with our products. We have just shy of 6,000 products across our US and Canadian stores. We want to get to a point where the product selection just seems logical, where Belinda can log on to Rise and complete her entire renovation project using our website. So you can't quite do that today, but we're well on our way there. So that's eventually where we want to take this.
Do y'all hold inventory, or are y'all the middleman between the main sellers and the consumers?
No, we're the face. So customer takes an order through us, and we then pass along that order to our manufacturers. We don't currently hold inventory, although we will be. There's a ton of brands, especially I think of a lot of European products, and even a lot of products that are only exclusive to certain geographies or markets, where we have a gigantic opportunity, some with our existing manufacturers, to bring accessibility to everybody, simply by having a few warehouses set up. So that's part of our roadmap.
So it's awesome that your business, the shop side of your business has grown so fast recently, but have you faced any difficulties starting up a venture like that in these difficult times with the recession and with COVID and everything that's been going on?
Well, to be honest, it helped that we got to a point with our usership, with educating people. And so our website, it's not like a WordPress site or anything like that. It's homegrown. There's a dev team behind it, and we got really good at SEO. So whenever somebody would type in a question into Google, they would find Rise, and so over the years, that gave us a great kind of domain authority. And so when we opened our store, we show our products anytime that we upload a new SKU, it shows up in Google almost immediately. And so we have a bit of an advantage there where we've been around, people have been relying on us for information. And now it's about converting those eyeballs into paying customers. So has it been difficult? It maybe isn't the best time, but it's also been a great time for home improvement in general. A lot of people, especially in the past year, have been spending a lot more time at home and also spending more time just wanting to feel comfortable in their space and spending more in our store. I want to say the lead time thing is one thing that does keep popping up. It accounts for maybe 5%, anywhere between 5% to 10% on an average month of our sales will get a cancellation just because the customer doesn't want to wait for a long period of time. But it does depend on the product. The product where you'd have to wait the longest right now is 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, that's awesome. So in addition to educating the customer, posting regular articles on your website, growing your ever-increasing shop, you also post YouTube videos on your channel. And I think I saw a recent video where you bought a fixer-upper. Is that something that you're working on as well?
Yeah, that's actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm not as good of a YouTuber as you are, but I aspire to be.
Oh, it was very entertaining.
Yeah. So my partner and I, we both have 2 daughters each. So we're a blended family with 4 kids. And we recently bought earlier this year an 1850s Victorian in the downtown of Fredericton, New Brunswick, where we're based out of. And it's quite a project, and we, obviously doing what I do for a living, it's kind of a nice marriage, and we've also started to bring on partners, so brand partners for this project. Some of our existing manufacturers and some new as well. Just saw it as a really nice opportunity to get involved. And yeah, we're basically documenting every kind of step of the way. We have been documenting some stuff on YouTube, but also we do post regularly on social channels for smaller, more minor updates. And currently we're at the demo phase. So we actually just wrapped up demo phase, and now we're moving on to structural work.
That's awesome. Are you doing any of this work yourself, or is it all contractors? You're probably documenting every part of the process, and you're going to be posting stuff on it regularly, right?
Yeah, that's what we've been doing and we'll continue to do. But to answer your question, no. The most involvement that I've had on this one is just the selection of the products and where we're sourcing stuff.
I mean, you've done your share of renovations in the past. It's time to
I've done my share. Yeah, and I think I'm not a contractor. I am handy, but I think a lot of contractors probably think the same way. I think of a few contractor friends, and they might have bought a fixer-upper of a house, and they've had the same fixer-upper with no changes for several years, just because they work all day at job sites and they get home and they're like, oh, do I want to keep working on more projects? And our homes typically, in this trade, I feel like our own homes typically come last. This one was one where, we were fortunate to hire an amazing contractor, and it's been a lot of hands off to this point. We're not done yet, so I might be in for a few surprises. I don't know, but it's been great so far.
So you have firsthand experience dealing with customers and DIYers and the ever-changing market, do you see new products coming out that that fit that fit the DIYers' needs? Like, do you see the product market changing so that products are more DIY friendly?
I would tend to say yes. I don't know if that I have tangible examples of that. I mean,
Over the past 7 years since you started Rise.
Oh, absolutely. The level of involvement of a homeowner in their renovation or build is incredible these days. A lot of the professionals that buy from us actually buy from us because their customer told them to, right?
Oh,
They
wow.
said, well, I want this product, so you know that's what you're putting in my house. And so, yeah, consumers today are way more informed, they do way more research because it's available to us, right? And because of resources like Rise and others who are educating people on better products and not just looking at the superficial or the, it's pretty, so that's what I want. I mean, that's absolutely part of it. And you should have a beautiful home. And, but there are other components that more and more homeowners are just becoming attracted to, like making sure that your drinking water is like the best drinking water on earth because you drink it every day. Why isn't that on everybody's priority list, or why shouldn't it be? Same with your air quality. I visited a few, the first passive homes in LA a few years ago, and I was just dumbfounded by, they had just had the wildfires recently, and all of them, they were all very airtight homes and amazing mechanical systems, ventilation systems, and all of them could not tell the difference between the fires being around and not. And at the time, LA had the worst air pollution in the entire world. But inside their homes, nothing. They changed their air filters after those few months, but they couldn't tell the difference. And to me, it's just why these are the types of things that more and more homeowners are really looking into, or even pets is another good example. If you're asthmatic or have pet allergies, an amazing mechanical system can often take that away.
That's awesome. So where do you see Rise growing over the next 5 years or so?
Well, we are embarking kind of on a growth path at the moment because the last year has been so successful on the sales front with our store. We're currently raising a round of capital to help fuel the growth. So there are big plans ahead for us. I may have alluded to, obviously us warehousing in the future. We do plan to release our own brand as well of products.
Oh, that's awesome.
And a few other things along the way, but we're the team is extremely excited, and that's who we owe this to. The team that we have is just incredibly talented and very dedicated to. It's not even just the company, but it's even more just the mission and bringing sustainability to the masses on the home improvement side. That's really why we're here.
There was one thing I wanted to bring up earlier that I forgot. Y'all are a B Corp, and I didn't know that thing existed until I went through your website. So a B Corp basically uses the company itself to help homeowners on the path to sustainable home. No, I'm sorry. Let me say that again. I got it over here. Okay, so B Corp uses the power of business to solve social and environmental problems. Did you start off the company hoping to get to that accreditation?
I did. Yeah. So I studied entrepreneurship in school. So I knew I always wanted my own business one day, but it wasn't until I read a book by Yvon Chouinard, who's the founder of Patagonia. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that company, yes. But over the years, they've become a poster child for B Corps, but essentially just alludes to businesses that are started and run on the principle of the triple bottom line, which means you're not just making like the typical corporation operates under, you need to do your fiduciary responsibility to uphold the shareholders, and just so maximizing profits at all costs. And you can make decisions this way. And, we've built over the years massive companies at huge scale, tons of, billions, trillions of dollars. It's amazing. But we're at a time where we need to do more than that. And that's where I find B Corps are, just resonate with our company values, my personal values, which is that we also need to uphold the planet and its people. And that's the triple bottom line. So people, planet, and profit. And those three things need to be satisfied, in my view. If you're building a company today, there's so many things, there's so many industries that are in dire straits right now that we need people to roll up their sleeves and do a bit more than just make more money.
So how did you all achieve that status, the B Corp status?
It's a rigorous process. It takes about a year. Well, it's different for everybody, but it took us about a year to earn it. You have to go through a pretty grueling assessment. There's a lot of documentation that needs to happen. For us, we were already kind of living the values of B Corp, but we had to document a lot of it. And you'll see there's some big brands now that are shifting towards B Corp. Patagonia is not the only one. Danone, Ben and Jerry's. There's some really big names out there, but it's an amazing community of companies. I forget where they're at for numbers now. I think it's maybe 4,000 or 5,000 companies globally who are B Corps. We're actually, and every 3 years you actually need to recertify. So we actually are going through recertification at the moment, because it was back in 2019 that we got our certification. So
yeah, I think I saw Nespresso became a B Corp just this week.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
It's great to see people making that that extra effort. And it also symbolizes, I think, for a lot of consumers, if you're familiar with what B Corp is, it gives you a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's almost like a set of values. And when you can identify that, I know even picking out food products at the grocery store, I'm like, oh, these guys are a B Corp. That's super cool. Like, I'll buy this. It gives you that extra kind of good feeling about your purchase.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Matt, for sharing the story of your company and how much y'all have grown over the last 7 years. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing all the new products that are available on your website. And I'm definitely going to link your website and also the shop website in my description. Do y'all also have an Instagram page? What's the other way to contact y'all?
Yeah, we're on all social channels. So Instagram, Facebook's another good one. Twitter, LinkedIn is great. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. We're not doing the TikTok thing just yet, but stay tuned for that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Belinda.